you the quantum mechanics?
Yes, we are the quantum mechanics, and I didn't wait for the bleep.
You didn't wait for the bleep, but it's fine. We'll go with that.
The Paranormal Podcast, the believers, the doubters, and people who don't understand vocal timing.
We've only done about 250 episodes. We're not expected to get it right, are we?
I am so sorry to crash the intros.
How are you doing?
I am all right. It's been one of those weeks where, you know how you sort of come out of all the celebrations of fireworks and Halloween.
Yeah.
And then you start, Christmas shopping.
Oh, I know. Honestly, it's like I know the Amazon delivery guy by name now. We're best mates. He just kind of, hello again. Yeah, good to see you.
Well, if you buy one thing off Facebook, like a Facebook advert, it then thinks you're going to buy everything off the Facebook marketplace thing. It's not a marketplaces thing. But I bought for my dad. My dad, when I was growing up, the first thing that I used to do my homework on was a Mac Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember those?
Yeah.
With the smiley face.
Yeah.
And they now make... it's an alarm clock, but it looks like a Mac Classic.
Oh, cool.
And it's got an Easter egg where if you put a floppy disk, it comes with its own floppy disk. If you put a floppy disk in the front, it smiles at you in the old Mac way. So I thought, yeah, we'll love that. Right, that has now progressed to them trying to sell me Mr. T watches this morning. It's not the same, and I don't want a Mr. T watch.
You're regressing, aren't you? You're totally regressing. I'm really confused about Three Eye Atlas again. Because I was reading somewhere, I don't know if it's true, it was like, no, it wasn't supposed to be coming at Halloween, it was coming around Christmas time. It's like, well, how are these goalposts now moving?
No, I was told that it was at its closest point to the sun at Halloween, and then it was going to slingshot off elsewhere.
Right.
I don't know, it seems like a bit of a nothing.
Well,
but
we haven't been invaded, so that's...
Well, I was going to say, we're all still here. And later on the extra scoop, I've got something equally as scary as an alien invasion to play you.
Ooh,
so, a sound clip. I'm looking forward to that. Let's get your reaction.
I'm looking forward to that as well. Well, shall we get into today's episode, Ben? Because, it is UFO related, which is good. Now, I've got a question to ask you, Ben. Have you got your pencil case ready? Your dinner money? I see you wearing your shorts.
Are we going to school?
We're going to school. Okay. I've been reading this book by Oliver Elliott called UFO Close Encounters That Defy Explanation.
Isn't that all of them?
Well, it's quite good because basically the author details what he regards as the most credible UFO or UAP. I never know which one to say these days. Do you?
It depends if you're like in America or not. I still call them UFOs. They're UFOs.
Yeah. Anyway, he has put together what he says are the most important sightings in history.
Okay.
Now, his criteria is based on the credible sources of the sightings. So, something we've talked about on the podcast before, military or police, mass sightings, obviously where there's more than one witness is another credible area. And some he's included that have, potential evidence that's been left behind, burn marks, that kind of stuff, right? So he's put in the book 58 of what he regards as the most credible cases. Now, many of them we've covered on the podcast. He's got everything in there from Lonnie Zamora to all kinds of stuff, So what struck me while I was reading the book was how many of the most credible UFO cases are connected to schools, which is why I wanted to know if you had your compass ready.
They are, to mind Broadhaven, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are others.
We're going to get on to some amazing cases, actually.
So I feel like I missed out at school.
Yeah, I didn't get a UFO, did you?
No. We got a visit from the RSPCA. That was
not quite the same.
No.
I got stung by a swarm of wasps.
What, as part of a lesson? Or?
No, it was like, I always remember it quite vividly. It was primary school. There was apparently a wasp nest at the bottom of the playing fields, and some bright spark decided the best thing to do with that would be to throw a stone at the nest. Yes, and I got stung about 4 or 5 times on the head, I was ill for about 2 days. It was a really nasty thing.
Yeah, no, wasp bees. No, we had a swarm of bees, but not they're sort of a nicer swarm.
I think when bees are swarming, they're actually quite mellow, aren't they?
Yeah, nobody got hurt. No.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's go through some of these cases that have been associated with schools. I'm going to run through a few cases. I'm going to do this in date order, starting with an incredible case from Orléans in France on October the 17th, 1952. I've literally phonetically spelled that out so I would get it right. So if there's anybody who lives in Orléans in France, hopefully I've got that right. I have picked the ones with weird names again. Here we go. So this thing starts with Jean-Yves Prigent, who was the head of a college in Orléans. I knew I'd get it wrong. I was like,
Sorry, I shouldn't have drawn attention
shall I just call it get it wrong now?
So you just say in France.
Yeah. Well, Orléans is a small city in the Basque region of France. And Jean was at home with his wife, who was also a teacher, and their 3 young children. Now, their house was located on the grounds of the school. Now, at lunchtime, Prigent called his son to come to the table, but his son didn't move, Ben, because he was looking out the window. And he said, "Come, father, it's fantastic." In a French accent. Do you want me to do that in a lower accent?
Hey, father, it is fantastique.
Come, father, it's
I do not want my pain au chocolat. C'est très bon.
This is not the gravitas I was looking for from this.
Also, où est la discothèque?
Yeah, the monkeys in the tree. That's a very niche reference. So joining his son, Prigent saw a strange cylindrical-shaped object at the edge of the campus. It was out of place, highly unusual, and clearly not an aircraft. The object started to move towards their location slowly. It then positioned itself directly above the school at a 45-degree incline. Prigent called his wife, who joined them to observe it. They saw that the cylindrical object was surrounded by a number of smaller objects that then merged with the main craft. We've heard this before, have we not?
Yeah.
Now, at first, they thought the smaller objects looked like small clouds, but Prigent went and got his binoculars. Good move. On closer inspection, he realised the smaller objects were not clouds, but red spheres surrounded by a yellow disc. Then, the larger object appeared to expel something into the atmosphere. Prigent's son shouted, "Look, it's falling!" Or, "Look, it's falling!" Something that then looked like white smoke was coming out of the craft. However, the smoke didn't behave like normal smoke. It didn't rise into the air. Instead, it slowly drifted downwards towards the ground. Curious, the family rushed out to the yard to find out what was going on. You would, wouldn't you? Or cower under the sofa, one of the two. Well, this smoky substance fell onto the ground and over the trees of the school campus, and the family started to pick it up and handle it.
Oh, this reminds me of the sports stadium in Italy.
Wow, wait. Just wait, because we're getting onto that. They then noticed that they'd been joined by other members of the school community. Now, the object emitting the glowing substance hovered overhead. The material falling to the ground was both solid and wispy, and it formed long strands.
Angel hair.
Yeah. Some people describe the strands as resembling nylon fibres, while others compared them to spiders' webs.
Oh, yeah.
White and delicate.
Yeah, spiders from Mars.
One of the teachers even conducted a simple experiment on the material and attempted to burn it. It burned like cellophane or cotton, but unlike natural cotton, it ignited quickly and easily. As you said, Ben, UFO experts later gave this strange material a name. It became known as angel hair.
Yeah.
Now, the leading theory suggested that angel hair formed when ionised air seeped from the electromagnetic field surrounding an unidentified craft, or UFO. That's the theory, anyway. Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's a bit like that Spiders from Mars story that you told on the podcast. That was a football match, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes, it was an Italian football match, and all of this material, it was seen to expel in a black cloud over the stadium and then fell.
Yeah.
Some of it was collected, went off for analysis, and the reason for the spiders from Mars, and that's where Bowie got the phrase from, is because it was explained as migrating spiders.
Yeah, yeah. Well, before they could get the material to the lab to analyse it, it dissipated, so that was a shame. The large object and the smaller ones gradually left the scene. In the coming weeks, other people had similar encounters with strange craft and the substance it expelled, which, as we know, became known as angel hair. It was next experienced near Toulouse. 5 days after, it was seen in a nearby town of Tarbes, and again an almost identical encounter in Gelac, which happened 10 days after that. Now, Ben, like the Spiders from Mars football stadium case, Skeptics put the sighting and the angel hair down to migrating spiders and the
did
webs
they?
they produce. Yeah, that was the theory.
Ah, interesting.
However, when the angel hair was finally analysed, because somebody did manage to collect some, so it was analysed in a lab, it was found to contain silicon, calcium, magnesium and boron. Now, these are all quite commonly found minerals on Earth. However, why these elements would suddenly appear and bind together into fibres, it just doesn't make sense, right? Now, spiders' webs can contain those elements, but only in a tiny amount. It's not really what they are made of.
No.
So, to analyse it and say, hey, these are the main elements in it, that's very unusual. So, could be spiders' webs, I guess, but that seems very unlikely given the incident and how it was described. But I thought it was interesting. I didn't realise there were other cases out there that were as credible and seen by multiple witnesses.
No, that's
that had
fascinating.
angel hair.
That is fascinating. I mean, I knew about the angel hair, but I did. What makes that particularly fascinating is the fact that the spiders are given as the explanation again, because it was patent nonsense when it was analysed in Italy and put forward as that. I mean, so much nonsense that's what David Bowie was doing. He was kind of laughing at the idea.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Can you remember roughly when that Italian wars won? Because this is in the 50s, this one.
Oh, gosh.
Later than that, you think?
I think it was later than that, but if you think about when Bowie was calling his
Spiders from Mars, that's 70s, isn't it?
Yeah, so in my head it was like 61, something like that.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's move from the early 1950s to 1959 and Papua New Guinea to what has been called the Gill sightings. Have you heard of these?
No.
This is incredible. So on June 26, 1959, Stephen Moy was making his way to the local Anglican mission school in the rainforest of Papua New Guinea. Through the gaps in the trees, he noticed a bright light hovering above him. Terrified, he ran to Father William Gill at the school's mission house. So I think Father Gill was the one who ran the school, basically. So he was the priest in charge of education, and he had been receiving reports from local people about strange sightings and what locals described as ships from another world. Interesting, huh?
That's interesting that they're already calling it that.
Yeah. Well, Father Gill and Stephen Moy headed to the beach to see if they could catch a glimpse of the strange lights. Gill believing Moy was likely mistaking Venus for something more threatening. Again, we've heard that before, right?
So many times.
On arriving on the beach, they could see the strange light to the northwest, and it definitely wasn't the planet Venus, as the two men could see Venus to the left of the strange lights. So they spotted Venus and goes, that ain't it.
I mean, Venus is very identifiable, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And never that big, right?
No, not really.
Not that I've ever seen.
You get those sort of summer nights where all of the sky seems closer and Venus stands out, but you still have to double check, like, oh, that is Venus, isn't it? And not like another star or whatever. And
would you mistake that for a craft a few 100 yards away? Maybe.
No. I mean, I've sometimes looked at it and gone, is it moving? Because you get that effect, don't you? That it's a known effect because your eyes drift and you mistake that for movement. But it's very, very obvious. After a couple of seconds, you check yourself and go, oh no, that is Venus. And at no point have I ever mistaken it for a craft, even though I wished it was. No, I haven't.
Yeah. Well, the object descended closer and then vanished within a fraction of a second. The two men returned to the mission, and Father Gill began to record everything he had seen with the help of another teacher at the school. As Gill began to write, Stephen Moy burst in again. The object was back, this time much closer to the school. This was about 500 feet away. The larger, it's amazing this, isn't it? The larger object accompanied by several smaller satellite objects.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we see in a lot of these sort of modern YouTube videos of, particularly recently when people have been videoing what, is known as the drone invasion, as it were. A lot of them do have sort of sister objects alongside them, which is, the supposed origin of the boogosphere, for example.
Yeah.
So that is not a new idea.
Yeah. Now, remember, this is 1959 in Papua New Guinea, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to put it into context, the first satellite, Sputnik, had only been launched 2 years earlier. So it's not like it is today where you can see, many objects travelling around the night sky. So as the object moved closer, they could make out 4 large figures at the top of the craft. And then the object shot over them, heading for the bay.
Wait, 4 large, what, standing on top of it?
The way I understood it, if you go for the classic UFO look with the kind of windows on the dome, that they spotted 4, I guess, humanoid figures in that space.
Interesting. Okay.
It gets weirder in a minute. So the craft was also reported by 38 people that night. The following evening, Father Gill was working on the reports sent to his superiors when one of the teachers interrupted him, saying, "It's back." Father Gill and others from the school headed once more to the beach to observe the strange craft. Once again, 4 figures were clearly visible in the craft. This is where it gets absolutely bonkers. Father Gill decided to try something. He started to wave at the figures.
Mm-hmm.
Extraordinary, one of the figures moved to the edge of the craft and waved back.
Oh.
The craft then moved away from the beach and hovered over the school mission house again. Father Gill and his staff left the beach and joined the craft at the mission house. In another experiment, Father Gill began waving a torch at the craft.
Bonjour, bonjour.
To the crowd's amazement, the craft began moving in a pendulum motion as if mirroring the movement of the torch.
Again, we have seen this trope a little bit in modern times, people using those laser pointers.
Yeah.
And flashing, and they flash back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the craft then drifted up into the clouds and disappeared. There were over 60 UFO sightings reported in that area within a few weeks. Father Gill wrote up his report on what he'd seen, and his statement was signed by 25 witnesses at or connected to the school, confirming what they'd seen over the 2-night period. 25 witnesses.
That's an impressive number of witnesses, yeah.
6 months after the event, Father Gill was interviewed by Air Force personnel, here we go, Ben, who concluded he'd seen a natural celestial phenomenon, likely the planet Venus.
Of course they did.
Who waved back at him.
Did.
Venus waved back at him.
Every single time. It's like we're idiots.
Yeah, I'd not come across that case before. It's just
no,
amazing,
I never heard of
right?
that. It is, and particularly the persistent night after night.
Yeah.
Again, that does sometimes come up in Lord. Remember when we spoke about Charlie Red Star?
Yeah.
That was something that happened every night consistently for a while. So, yeah, what on earth is going on?
I love that fact, though. He waved at it and then shone his torch and it,
Yeah.
I mean, that's so... But I know it's different that in Close Encounters, it's that musical connection with the lights, but it did remind me a bit of Close Encounters, that you're waving a torch and it mirrors what you're doing. I mean, that shows intelligence, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what I find interesting about both those cases, Ben, is that normally with UFO sightings associated with schools, the skeptic line is, it's something like, oh, it's just kids with an overactive imagination. You hear that a lot with those kind of cases. But in both those cases, it was the adults, the teachers who witnessed this phenomenon.
Yeah.
Our next case took place in Dexter, Michigan on March 20th, 1966. It doesn't start at school, but it does end there. So farmer Frank Manor was taking his dog, I love the name of this dog, aptly named Quasar.
Oh,
what a great
that's
name
a good
for a
name.
dog. He was taking the dog for a walk in a nearby woods. He spotted strange lights in the sky, but thought nothing of it. Frank returned home and began, ironically, watching a sci-fi movie with his son. During the movie, their dog, Quasar, started barking at something outside. Around 8:30 p.m, Frank and his son ventured out to see what their dog was getting agitated about. They noticed a light that appeared to be falling towards the ground. They waited for an impact because they basically thought this was something crashing, right? Then the light slowed down, eventually coming to a complete stop above some trees. Frank decided to call the local sheriff's department to report what he'd seen. I'd love to have been on that call, wouldn't you?
Very much.
Frank and his son then went back to viewing the light, which quickly started towards a nearby swamp. Meanwhile, 2 officers from the sheriff's department, Deputy David Fitzpatrick and Deputy Stanley McFadden, also spotted the strange lights as they approached Frank's farmhouse. They thought it was so unusual they called for backup. Can you imagine how? Because if you got that report from the farmer, you'd probably go, "Oh yeah, he's been at the hooch again, right?" So you drive up, you approach the house, you see something that freaks you out so much you call for backup. I think that's quite amazing.
Yeah, you don't see a light in the sky and go, "I need to bring more people." I mean, although I guess what he was also thinking is, if I'm observing this, I need other people to vouch for the fact I'm not crazy.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, on the radio message, he said, "Dispatch, we're in pursuit of some kind of unknown moving object."
Oh, in pursuit, okay.
Moving east from US Road. I guess that's the name of the road. So in response, 6 additional police cars were deployed to join the pursuit, but the lights were travelling too quickly for the officers to keep up. Meanwhile, Frank and his son continued to explore the swamp until they saw a bright light about 450 metres from them. Frank and his son saw a large brown sphere-shaped object with a distinct waffled or quilted steel texture on its surface. Interesting description that. That's not a typical description, I don't think, that I've come across.
No, I haven't heard waffled.
Yeah. You've heard waffle from me, but not waffled spacecraft. Frank estimated...
Brown as well, sorry, yeah.
Well, Frank estimated the craft to be about the size of a small car, with what he seemed to be having a mist hanging beneath it. Red, blue, green and white lights moved across the object. At that moment, the object's lights went out, disappearing right in front of them, only to reappear seconds later, about 500 yards, so about 460 metres, away in a different location of the swamp, as if it was like teleporting or something. Really weird.
That is so odd.
As the object moved, they heard a sharp sound like a rifle bullet ricocheting off an object. So again, I guess by implication, that's as it's, I don't know, either moving at such a fast pace or somehow materialising in a different location, you get this almost ricochet sound like a bullet hitting something. They'd never seen anything moved like that before. The strange craft then began bouncing up and down.
What?
Yeah. After a few moments, it lifted...
Like across the sky?
It doesn't really go into detail with that. I almost imagine it kind of, bouncing up and down like, I don't know, like a spring.
It is coming off the ground then?
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I don't know if that's in the air or on the ground. After a few moments, maybe it was on the ground, it lifted into the air, hovered directly above them and zipped away at an incredible high speed. It passed over the policeman stationed at the other end of the swamp. Now, it turns out that Frank was not the only person to see the object. Dozens of other individuals reported seeing a similar type of object in the days leading up to the incident, as well as on the following day. This is where school comes into it. On March 21st, 1966, around 9 p.m, approximately 87 residents of McIntyre Residence Hall at Hillside College spotted flashing lights hovering over the arboretum. Several women living in the McIntyre residence of the college noticed unusually bright lights floating over the Slayton Arboretum around 10:30 p.m. In an account written 3 days later, one witness described the events as a UFO encounter, saying, "I ran to my window and there it was, radiating intense silver-white light and heading directly for the dawn. A brief flash of lightning illuminated it for just a second, and in that second I saw what appeared to be a squashed football or basketball." The women in McIntyre were not the only ones to report UFOs over the college that night. Harold Hess, then a Hillsdale police officer, was parked in a lot of West Carlton Road with his partner Jerry Wise. Some point in the night, the two noticed an almost blinding light hovering somewhere over the college. When Hess and Wise drove around the campus to investigate...
That's a cop show, isn't it? Hess
really
and
is.
Wise.
Yeah, Hess and Wise, it really is, isn't it? Well, when Hess and Wise drove around the campus to investigate, they discovered the same shining disc-like object. In an interview in 2015, Hess described his experience as an encounter with unearthly technology. "It wasn't a chopper, there was no humming," he said. "I took my weapon out. Jerry told me to put it back. Whatever it is, I don't think he'll be bothered one bit by what you've got at your side," Jerry told me.
Stop! Was this written by Benny Hill?
Yeah, oh no. Then Hess said the lights, this is interesting as well, he said the light split in two and went in opposite directions. This action damaged the equipment in the patrol car, so that when the two turned the radio on, they only got static. "It's one of those things that runs your hair up on the back of your head just thinking about it," Hess said. So in the aftermath of the sightings, the US Air Force sent astronomer and UFO investigator J. Allen Hynek to examine the reports. This is going to make you laugh. After a brief investigation, Hynek concluded that the various witnesses had seen fires caused by swamp gas, methane released by the decay of vegetation. Michigan Congressman and future President Gerald Ford rejected Hynek's conclusions and immediately called for a congressional hearing on UFOs. The House Committee on Foreign Affairs investigated the matter, making parts of the case public, though it did not hold the full hearing that Ford had requested. Several journalistic organisations listed the UFO sightings as one of Michigan's top 10 stories of 1966. The public, including Sheriff Douglas Harvey, continued to support Frank Manner's account of the strange object he had seen that night. This is interesting. Years later, Hynek revealed that the Air Force had pressured him to offer a mundane explanation for the sighting.
Yeah, of course they did. I mean, with these, I always wondered, like, why did they do that? Is it because... Well, we always come back to the same thing. It's a secret weapon they know about.
Yeah. Or
it's
a UFO.
It's a UFO that they know about.
Yeah.
Or it's something that they don't know about and they don't want to be embarrassed. It's the only three conclusions.
They really are, aren't they? And I guess you can... we'll come on to more stories, but I guess you can argue that both ways, because I was thinking about it as I was working on the episode. You know, these descriptions of the craft are all very similar. You get, not necessarily in that one, but you get these kind of smaller spheres that accompany it, you know, that, which could suggest, yeah, it is some... You could argue that either way, couldn't you? Because there would be consistency. If everybody was seeing completely different things all the time, then that is more of a mystery. But people are seeing similar things, which you can argue is some secret military thing or not. I mean, the secret military thing that I think is weird is if it was a secret military weapon, it's either still secret. And remembering these are 1950s, 1960s cases, that's a long time to keep technology under wraps, isn't it?
It is.
Or they decided to abandon it or reject it. Do you know what I mean? It is strange. It is strange. Well, let's turn the clock forward to 1966 and the Westall sightings in Melbourne, Australia. So on the 6th of April 1966, 12-year-old Terry Peck was playing football, soccer for our US fans, on Socia, on Westall High School sports ground. She noticed something strange above her head, looked up and saw a silver-grey saucer-shaped craft. The UAP was hovering silently and emitting a purple hue. The object was about the size of 2 family cars. I mean, that's another thing, isn't it? They're roughly about the same size, these objects, as well.
Yeah. It's always measured in the size of family cars as well. Yeah.
This bit's interesting. She said it looked like 2 saucers joined together. That's an interesting description.
Yeah.
At that moment, the bell rang to signal the school mid-morning break, and more students and teachers arrived at the playing field to observe the strange object. With hundreds watching, the object silently moved behind some trees. Students and teachers alike ran to carry on observing the strange craft. One of the students, Victor Sacri, who had reached the school fence's boundaries, started to scale the fence to get a closer look at the craft. I bet none of the teachers were pleased about that, were they?
No. He's probably the one that threw the stone at your wasp's nest.
He probably was, yeah. Well, the frightened teachers did try calling him back. Victor was having none of it. He scaled the fence and moved close to the object. I guess you go, hold on, there's a UFO there. I'm not just going to go back inside.
No, exactly. No, I mean, because you'd regret it for the rest of your life.
So he got so close, he could give a good description of the UFO, which, again, is fascinating. He said it was made of metal but showed no signs of rivets, screws or bolts. It looked as if it had been moulded from a single seamless piece of metal. He didn't recall seeing any doors or hatches, but he remembered a red glow emanating from the craft. He got so close that he could feel heat radiating from the surface of the object. He considered reaching out and touching it, but at the last second he pulled his hand back. Probably a good idea, that. He may have climbed over a fence, but touching a red-hot UFO is probably not a good idea, is it?
No. How old is this kid?
I don't know. Actually.
I get the impression he's like 11, 12 or something.
Yeah, I think he is, yeah. Well, then, suddenly the object rose rapidly into the air and stopped at a low altitude. Victor said he felt no displacement of energy, wind or air pressure as it ascended, and he didn't recall hearing any substantial sound coming from the flying saucer. It was virtually, if not completely, silent. Several metres away, Terry Peck was still watching. She remembered clearly that at some point the flying saucer moved away from the school and descended towards a grove of pine trees. The object appeared to be heading for a wooded area on the edge of the school grounds known as the Grange. Many of the students followed the object and ran directly towards the Grange. As Terry was crossing the school grounds, she came across one of the students lying unconscious on the ground. And when the girl came round, she had no recollection of what had happened to her. Now, as I was reading in the book, they don't explicitly say, but there was some kind of hint that that was some sign of alien abduction or some interaction with the craft. But I guess it feels just even more likely that she fainted from panic or shock of what she was witnessing. Do you know what I mean? I think that's just as likely.
Yeah,
not.
100%, yeah.
Well, the craft then silently left. Reporters who went to the Grange later that day found unusual circular marks left on the ground. The whole incident had lasted about 20 minutes with 300 students, teachers and local people witnessing it. That's a long time, right? In 2005, 40 years after the event, 90 of the witnesses reunited and all of them stick by their story that they'd witnessed a UFO that day, which I think is interesting. Really fascinating.
Yeah. I mean...
300 people.
Yeah, I'm sort of silent because that's what I was asking how old that kid was, because little kids, in my mind, would be more prone to a flight of fancy and see it as like a playful thing and maybe misinterpret.
12-year-olds.
12, right, okay. So that's about the right age of like being able to observe the things that he was saying, and also be able to talk with some level of authority about, you know, I didn't spot any windows or whatever, because it just felt a bit fake if a 6-year-old had said that.
Yeah.
But no, that sounds... It's really credible. And again, just reminds me of exactly the credibility of the child witnesses in Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Well, almost exactly a year later, there was another mass sighting at a school, this time in Miami, Florida. Now, this happened on April the 6th, 1967, at Crestview Elementary School in North Dade County. Once again, it features students playing football or soccer. Maybe aliens are fans of the beautiful game, Ben. Maybe that's what they're coming down. They're coming down to watch some football matches because the Orb Angel Hair was at a football match, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they just love football.
I think that they are trying to expose themselves to, a number of people for a reason. Right. And you get a number of people together at football matches.
Yeah.
I mean, we have had sightings at, I was going to say pop concerts. Made me sound about 95 years old.
Oh, that pop and roll music.
At music venues. Yeah, that Eddie Cochran.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Although he did see a UFO. We'll come on to that another time. But well, I think it's where there are a number of people come together for an event.
Mate, okay, let's go really crazy. Maybe, this theory that they walk among us, the kind of lizard people, but they can look like us.
Yes.
Maybe they're kids in the football team, the aliens kid, and they're just coming to watch the game and like screaming from the sidelines when things don't go well or their kid gets substituted.
Now that is just the kind of lateral thinking we need.
Yeah, that's
on this podcast.
That's what we're known for on this podcast.
You might well have solved it.
I think I've solved it. Yeah, it's basically
they're soccer dads.
Soccer dads, yeah, soccer dads.
Oh, well, that's solved then.
Sorry, I've slightly got off the story, didn't we? So we're back to 1967. It's the April, Crestview Elementary School. There's a kid playing football. So Jonathan is a fourth grade student. He spots a flying disc in the sky, but the school bell rings. I wouldn't have done this.
Oh, he goes in?
Like a good student, he heads back inside the school to his classroom.
No.
Come on, this is a once-in-a-lifetime here, Jonathan. What are you doing?
No, don't do that.
But at the same time, Bob Apfel, the teacher who was in the playground shepherding the students inside, also spotted the craft. Now, Bob, who was used to aircraft flying over the school, realised this was not a normal plane and feared it was going to crash. As the teacher, Bob, and the student, Jonathan, watched the object, it suddenly disappeared. Now, okay, you might say just a bog-standard sighting of a potential UAP, but Ben, the next day things ramped up a level. As the students were waiting for Bob Apfel to arrive and start lessons, Jonathan spotted the craft again out of the window about 250 yards, so 230 metres away. This time, as we've heard on so many of these other cases, the larger craft was accompanied by two smaller ones. All the students ran to the window to take a look, but after 30 seconds the objects disappeared. Mr. Apfel arrived to find his classroom in chaos and ran to tell the principal that this strange craft was back. The students reached the edge of the schoolyard just as the largest of the three objects reappeared, giving them a clear close-up view. Sitting above the cigar-shaped body was a turreted structure resembling a dome or a small tower. The object was enormous. They compared it to the size of a cruise ship or a football field.
A cruise ship?
Yeah.
Flipping heck.
Yeah. And it appeared to land in a field adjacent to the school. The craft returned, this time, Ben, displaying behaviour that, when I was reading it, it sounded, like in Star Trek, you get the cloaking devices or some kind of displacement where it can teleport. Got something like this going on. One of the smaller craft flew into a tree, disappeared, then emerged from the tree again, and both the craft and the tree was undisturbed. So it almost flowed through and then back out.
Almost like it is a hologram or not entirely in our dimension.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the following day, a group of local residents reported yet another sighting around 9:45 a.m, once again involving three flying saucer-like objects near the schoolyard. That same day, uniformed government officials were seen to survey the area. They interviewed three teachers who were direct witnesses to the events. Some students later returned to the landing site and reported finding burnt grass or flattened vegetation, clear signs that something physical had been there. Here we go. The US military and Project Blue Book claimed the witnesses had seen a Coast Guard helicopter that had been conducting manoeuvres in the area. Yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah, because that would get everybody that freaked out. I mean, I guess you can write that off, for overexcited, hysterical students, but you've got teachers here who witnessed this thing. They'd know what a helicopter looked like, right?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Coast Guard helicopter has Coast Guard written on it.
Yeah.
And it's not the size
and
of
looks
a
like a
cruise
helicopter
ship.
and doesn't have two other bits following it around, right? And why would you send Project Blue Book? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do exactly what you mean. Yeah. So what happened then?
That was it. It was written off as
they were just told that's what it is.
That's what it is. It was a US Coast Guard helicopter. You got the whole thing wrong.
Oh, case solved.
Yeah, job done. Now, perhaps,
Ridiculous.
Ben, one of our favourite UFO incidents happened here in the UK at Broadhaven Primary School on February the 4th, 1977. Now, we did a whole episode on this case, so check that out. It's called The Playground UFO. Rather than us kind of summarise it again, we're going to just play you a short clip from that episode to explain the story.
Probably the way to start is by telling you that there's a boy. Well, he was a boy at the time. He won't be anymore, but he was called David Davis, and he was 10. And he'd heard rumours about the flying saucers in the area, but he didn't believe them. But then one day he says he sees this cigar-shaped craft with a dome covering the middle third. And he says, my sighting only lasted a couple of seconds. It popped up and then went back behind a tree. And this sighting happens when he's in the playground of this primary school.
Right.
And he says, so this is him recounting the story a few years later as an adult. He says, none of the teachers believed the children, but the headmaster had a bit of an inspiration, and he separated the kids out and got them to draw what it was that they saw. And this is why this case is so intriguing, because what they drew was basically the same thing. They are largely the same shape and the same scenario. And of course, following the sighting, the media descend on this village, and this witness says it became what he describes as a wild roller coaster. This wasn't an anomaly. They definitely saw something. But there is a whole load of kids who were asked by reporters to tell them what it is they'd seen. And I think this speaks of the time as well, because I wonder whether we'd get this in today's day and age. But it seems like the parents and the teachers were absolutely comfortable with the kids talking to the press. So, for example, a child, again, he's 10, Michael Matheson Webb at the time, he says it was silver and cigar-shaped with a big dome and a red light flashing on top. So very similar to the previous account. We couldn't believe it at first. One of the boys ran down the hill to tell Sir, but he didn't believe it. I watched it for between 3 and 5 minutes. It had a flashing red light, and I'm sure it was a spaceship. It definitely wasn't a helicopter. Everyone is sure that what they saw. Everyone is sure that they saw something. It, again, seems cigar-shaped with this large dome on top. I was really frightened when I saw it. Then a couple of other boys, these are brothers, Sean and David Ward, they describe coming running in to where the teachers are and trying to explain to them what they'd seen. As they weren't getting any sort of positive response, they joined some other boys and they went to the top of the playing field and carried on observing what he describes, or they describe, as something silver and disc-shaped. And then they describe that there's what appears to be a door opening in the side of the object. And they describe this figure, and like that last account from the hotel owner, they say, well, this figure was silver. Again, they repeat the fact that the object had this dome on top of it and the light. This is the consistent factor through them all. And this light stands out because, as they describe it, was a dull day, so they could see this thing relatively clearly. The only thing that obscures it is because there's some trees beyond where they are, but this is very close to this these child's playground. Probably the next thing to do is to listen to the clip, and you can hear one of these eyewitnesses say it in their own terms.
My friend Philip here was trying to find a way over the stream, and I was looking at the bushes up the top of the trees, and then suddenly this silver cigar-shaped object seemed to pop up from behind the bushes and trying to take off.
I was really struck listening to that, how so similar it was to that last account, that, the one in America. The description of the object, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? And again, if we go back to what we were talking about earlier, that suggests that people are seeing not just something unidentified, but they're seeing the same thing.
Yeah. I always find it strange as well that these accounts with the children, the occupants reveal themselves.
Yeah. There's so many parallels, aren't there, in all these cases, and connected to a school. So let's spend just a couple of minutes at the end here discussing what is going on, because, I mean, in Oliver Elliott's book, which I do think his criteria for picking credible cases is a good one, is sound. So witnesses such as police, mass witnesses, teachers, and physical evidence. So it's not just kids. And I was struck by the number of incidents that relate to or have connections with schools. So he covers 58 cases in the book. And, there are other cases in the books that are related to schools. I've just picked some of my favourite ones today. Now, if you think of this, you could just argue, well, that's just a case of probability. But what I also think is interesting, when you factor in credible sightings of UFOs in built-up areas, because a lot of these are, and in the daytime, you know what I mean? Because a lot of them are, certainly the skeptics go for that, young people have an active imagination. But in all of the cases today, perhaps Broadhaven aside, these UAP encounters were witnessed by pupils and teachers. Now, I've got a bit of a tinfoil hatty thought I had. So you could develop a narrative that the aliens are keeping a close eye on the next generation, perhaps making sure their hybridization program is going to plan.
Do you know, I was going to say the same thing. It does sound somewhat sinister. And I know it sounds bonkers, but the amount of times that we have had accounts of people being taken upon a ship and then them being shown the child that is told that is theirs, they're allowed to have some interaction with it. They know who they've bred with. They come out and say hello. I wonder if this is the other way around, and you've got, the alien mum or dad has popped out to see their kids, and
what do they look like?
Yeah, what do they look like? How are they getting on?
Yeah,
these are my representatives on Earth. They're my own flesh and blood.
Yeah,
that's It's a very out there thought. I mean,
it is tin hatty, but it's interesting though, isn't it? I did wonder though, Ben, if there was a simpler explanation around time and inclination. So what I started thinking as adults going about our daily lives, when do we have the time or the inclination to look up at the skies? Do you know what I mean? Very rarely. If you think about it, schools have forced breaks where pupils are encouraged to spend time outside. And even in built-up areas, I guess there are playing fields and open spaces, so there's a good line of view of things. I mean, also, if a school's doing its job, it's encouraging kids to observe and question the world around them. And maybe that makes students, and perhaps those who teach them as well, the teachers, more inclined to look up and wonder. You know what I mean? I think what's clear with all the stories we've featured today, though, is that multiple people simultaneously saw something out of the ordinary. You can't argue against that, can you? The amount of witnesses, they saw something. And I don't think it was Venus or, or swamp gas,
No. And also, I think what's interesting with that many people is it becomes less likely that it's like, I know it would be odd to have a screen memory of an alien, but it feels that they're seeing, it feels like maybe what they're reporting is more the original thing rather than, if it's an individual and they see a thing, they see another thing, and then they've suddenly got half an hour of missing time or more missing time.
Yeah.
And there's something much more suspect has gone on. This seems a very clear-cut case of something just exposing itself and saying, here we are. Yeah. But the mystery is just why. And why you would sort of knowingly cover a football match in Angel Hair, knowing what humans would talk and say about it as well.
Yeah.
Like all of these mass sightings, and why they didn't do that at a school. The school is a very different experience. It's like we stay back, we let you have a good look at the craft. Someone stands on top sometimes and waves, and then they're gone. That's a completely different level of experience.
Yeah. And interaction. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Extraordinary. It's just like, I didn't set out to do it about schools, but just reading, the book is really good. Definitely worth checking out. We'll put links to it in the show notes. But I started reading them and was thinking, I'll just do it on UFOs, and then it was just one after the other. Oh, well, that's at school. That's got a connection to a school. Oh, that's at college. It's like, what the heck is going on here? And my point is, I think the author has picked what I really think he has picked 58 of the most credible UFOs cases. There's all kinds of stuff that we've done before in there. But just how many at schools? What the heck is going on? Something is going on there.
Yeah, and I think it's also strange that it's because when you think about it, it's like, why not at a factory? Why not at a university?
Yeah,
it seems very targeted at kids.
Yeah, well, if you go with that, I know we did the Life on Mars one at the football stadium, but there aren't a wealth of UFO sightings or encounters at sports grounds, or if you want to hit a mass audience and you want to get multiple sightings, there are plenty of places you could do that that's not a school. But it seems like schools are the places that this stuff happens to.
I have got some cases of people seeing them at, as I said, pub music venues, but also drive-through movies in the 50s and 60s. In fact, there's a great case, and I didn't know you were doing this today, so I haven't looked it up, but there is one where there's a group of people, I'm sure it's in the early 60s, and it's obviously an American drive-in, and they're watching some kind of sci-fi movie, and then this UFO kind of hovers near the screen, and everybody sees it, and they're so impressed they think it's a director's stunt that they applaud.
Right.
And then this thing flies off, and then afterwards everyone's like, no, it's not part of the movie. How do you think we did that?
Yeah, geez, we're not that good, not that.
No. Wow. But that almost seems like alien sense of humour.
Yeah, having a laugh. Yeah.
It's a long way from the frightening experiences, and it's also a long way from, we've spoken a lot about, in the 50s and 60s, it was, warnings about nuclear weapons, and then it became warnings about environment.
Yeah. And
then there's people being abducted for their own reproductive cells. But this is it just seems like it's a laugh.
Yeah. Oh, I do quite like that theory that they're keeping an eye on their offspring. Whether that's hybridization or they're living among us. I love that idea. We haven't seen Johnny or Zorgon in about, 2 millenniums. We'll go and check him out.
2 millenniums.
I'm making it up as I go along, as you can tell.
Oh, it's Millennium Eve, everybody. Zorgon.
Zorgon, you're right.
Yeah, that's not his Earth name. He's Darren. Darren.
Zorgon, tackle him. Tackle him.
Oh, that would be brilliant. That's a proper Futurama, that.
That's a good sketch, isn't it? Yeah. Well, as you mentioned earlier, one of the major stories that I didn't feature today is the aerial school encounter that took place in Zimbabwe. I'm going to talk about that on the Extra Scoop. I didn't include it here because there is some controversy surrounding its validity, but we're going to explore that on the Extra Scoop. So if you want to come and join us, it is at a Patreon... I always forget.
Patreon.com/TQM pod.
That's the one. Every time it just goes completely out of my mind. Yes, come and join us as Patreon, or you can, if you're listening on Spotify, you can click that Patreon exclusive episode. It's called Ben and Peter's Extra Scoop, and it will take you to Patreon, and then you can work out what you do from there. Do consider doing that, because we do have some great conversations on there, and Ben's got something as well that he's going to share with us on the Extra Scoop.
Everything's a week early.
Everything's a week early.
Ad-free.
Ad-free, exclusive episodes. Really nice community of people there. We're really, we love our Patreons. So,
and if you happen to be living close to where we're doing a live event, you get in for free.
Yeah, see, it's all great. It's all great. So, yeah, come and join us. And obviously it does help us keep the show on the road.
We really do appreciate it, because it isn't free to make.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, look.
All right. Should we see everyone over there then?
We'll see everyone over there, or if not, we'll see you next week.
Take care. See you then.
Bye.
Are you the quantum mechanics?